Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully you're having a great week. It's another Thursday, and we're like a week away from Thanksgiving, which is really scary. So, but anyway, before we get into today's episode, just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist. And Titleist is always looking for ways to help you shoot lower scores. And the golf ball you play can make a big difference. Here's something you should know about. Alignment Integrated Marking, or AIM, are alignment lines precisely printed on your Titleist golf ball. AIM is available in a variety of different designs and colors. Like AIM Performance is a tour-inspired 105-degree line available in black, red, blue, or pink. Now AIM Enhanced is a distinct 3-line alignment system. Both AIM Performance and AIM Enhanced are available on Pro V1, Pro V1X, and Pro V1X Left Dash. Now Titleist AVX and Titleist Super Soft balls, they get AIM 360, a 3-line design that wraps all the way around the golf ball. I'm a big AIM Enhanced guy. I use it on my Pro V1X. I've been using it for a couple of years now. Really think that it helps me line up some of the shorter putts and things like that. So that's the one I choose. But why use AIM? AIM technology has been found to help golfers be up to 35% more precise in lining up putts. AIM can also help with confidence lining up to the target off the tee, but you have to see AIM designs to appreciate them. So visit Titleist.com to see all the AIM markings today. So anyway, we are back. It is Thursday, and we're back. And last week, what a great episode! Everybody was super excited. I know everybody's waiting for the Scotty Cameron Zero Torque or OC putters for me to talk about them. Thankfully, my friends at Titleist sent me the putters, and I've been messing with them ever since as well. But really big fan. But you guys, that episode was awesome. Tons of listens between YouTube. And the podcast platforms, all that was really, really good. So figured why not double down, and we're going to jump into Zero Torque putters again, because we just had 2 brand new Zero Torque putters get released just on Tuesday, I believe. I'm recording this on Wednesday, so I think it happened yesterday. Was the embargo. I know it was right around that. But I've had these for a couple weeks as well, so it's hard for me to remember, the announcement or the article went out yesterday or Tuesday, but I've had them for a little bit. But we've got 2 brand new putters, Zero Torque putters from Bettinardi. They're back out again. So we've got the Bettinardi, the Antidote series gets 2 new editions. 1 and 2 came out a little while ago. And now we have SB3, which is kind of a number 7 fang type model. And then we have SB5, which is kind of a half moon mallet kind of classic shape there. And yes, we don't have a 4. No idea where 4 is. It has not come out. So we've got 3 and 5. 4, no clue. Not sure where it went. Maybe we'll see it in the future or something like that. But 2 brand new models out. And both look really good. I think, as before, SB1 was, of course, like the blade, just kind of a blade model, very rectangular in terms of its look. And then we had SB2, which was like the big square mallet. And I liked the SB2 for a little while. And then on course, I didn't putt as well with it as I had hoped. But the one thing I do to say is that Bettinardi has, with these Zero Torque models, the Antidote models, they really nailed the feel. I mean, they're Bettinardi feeling putters. They definitely have that feel to them, and these are definitely no different. But first, we'll start with looks. I do have to say, opening the box up, I didn't know what to expect. I knew there were new Zero Torque putters coming because my contact over at Bettinardi kind of said that there'd be some additions to the Antidote lineup. But I wasn't sure what they were going to look like, anything like that. So opening the box, right out of the box, I was like, the first one I pulled out was SB3, kind of this fang. Like I said, I like to call it the number 7 style because Odyssey kind of made that famous. But SB3 has these fangs on them where you have the silver stainless steel face in front and this blue colored stainless steel back. At first, I thought it might be aluminum, like the Innove models. But then on there is a nice 303 SS marking on there. So 303 stainless on the face, 303 stainless on the rear kind of fangs on it. But overall looks really good. I think the contrast of blue and silver, of course, really works. And I love the fact that you've got 2 long sight lines that run down the fangs to working with a little straight line on the top line. So really good overall look. Of course, the milling looks fantastic. On the back there, a little, interesting little kind of hosel, as you call it, is it's like milled out there, and you can see some of the milling lines in the little pocket and everything. Super detailed, but as usual, Bettinardi killed it with the milling department. Face looks nice as well. Of course, we've got the fit face back on this one, which is those horizontal lines to add a little softness to it. But these things here, really, really nice. And yeah, I think they came out really, really well. The heads on these, 360 grams on the SB3, and on the SB5 is the same, so 360 grams. So a little bit heavier than like the 350 that's kind of become standard on a lot of regular balanced putters. But these, of course, if you're not familiar with the Antidote, they're toe-up design. So when you hold them, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see like I'm just holding it, letting it rest on my fingers. And when you do that, the toe points straight in the air. And what that does, it makes the face point towards your target. So the theory is, with putters like this, you don't have to get the putter back to square at impact. It wants to be square. It wants to be pointed to the target, and it just eliminates one part of the equation of putting, because putting is difficult. Let's be honest. So really like kind of the little details, little honeycomb milling and little fangs in there. They milled that in there, and yeah, just overall a really, really nice looking setup here for the SB3. And then SB5. So SB3 was the one when I pulled it out. I was like, no, like this is like my jam. Like I'm this guy. And then I pulled out SB5, and SB5 is this kind of half moon, kind of half circle mallet, kind of really classic and traditional. I love they did the again same thing, little pocket back there, some honeycomb milling. With SB5, same thing, 303 stainless on the back. Just has this nice kind of classic shape to it, and I like the fact that when you look down on it, it just kind of looks like a classic little half blade, half mallet, half blade type of design. And it's just kind of nice and clean. Like there's nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. I think people who are a little bit more traditional will like the look of this. The milling lines and stuff that when you start looking really closely, you can kind of see them on some of these shoulders and stuff up on the top. But a really nice kind of big wide flange right there in the cavity. 2 blue lines that run down that to frame the ball, and then again a small sight line on the top. Now the front face portion of these, I think, is almost identical. They look exactly the same. I'm pretty sure the way they're designed, you could, in theory, it's not meant to happen, but you could take these apart and swap the backs, and that would work. So I believe the faces are all identical between these two putters. So really good look on this one. And then that's funny because like this is not a shape I typically gravitate towards from any brand, like this just is not a shape I'm in. And the more I've been rolling both these putters, the more I do like the look of this. I think they did a really nice job on the look of this putter. This SB5 looks really clean, really classic. And while none of these toe up or zero torque type putters are truly classic looking, when you have a shaft that goes in, to the center of the club head, I think Bettinardi did a nice job where it is a little closer to the face. Like the shaft on some of these putters is like way back, and there's a ton of face before you get to the shaft. This one, they pushed it forward a little bit, and I do have to say that does give it a little bit more of a traditional look and maybe a little easier on the eyes for people who are maybe just looking into this style of putter and going from there. But really like it behind the ball. I think it looks really, really solid. And they finished off just stock steel shafts. And a lambkin deep edge grip on here. So they do have an option on the website for an oversized grip that you can get on here. I typically play pretty standard grips, so I went with that instead, and that is what they sent on both these putters. So a classic, really good look. I like what they did with both these putters. But again, fit face on this one. So a really nice job in terms of looks. And it's funny because I keep putting with them, and every time I grab one, I always kind of grab SB5 in terms of the looks. I just really like it, and it looks really good. So interesting because, like I said, not a putter shape that I've been massively into over the years. And then the head covers, which I left on the other side of the room, are the same as the Antidote covers before. So navy blue, honeycomb on the top. They say the Antidote on them. So those are the same as the SB1, SB2 that were out. They didn't really change those. But overall, clean, classic, very Bettinardi. Great milling and really, really nice looking putters. So yeah, I like the looks of them. I think they did a nice job there. When it comes to feel on these is, as you would think, very good. Made out of stainless steel. I know some of these putters out there, they have inserts. They're made out of aluminum. They're whatever. Like they're just a bunch of stuff. So the range of feel in this zero torque arena varies greatly, and I think that's a good thing because I think there's different feels. Everybody's idea of good feel is subjective. So whatever you like, the next person may not like, and vice versa. So the feel here is subjective. But this is, much like the previous Antidotes, very, very classic, very, very stainless steel, very, very Bettinardi. So to me, Bettinardis are always just they lean a slight bit more on the crisp side. And I say that in a good way. because I think they have a softness to them that also lets them be very responsive. So you hear a little bit of click, you feel a little bit of that impact, and I think as your impacts change, those things, that sound changes and stuff like that. But the feel on it, really, really solid. Now, interesting enough, at first I was kind of hitting balls, and I have 2 golf balls that I typically use down here on my putting mat. One's a Pro V1, and one's a Pro V1 X Left Dash. And there's no rhyme or reason to why I have them. They're just 2 golf balls that they came out of a bag once, they sat on my workbench, and they ended up on the putting mat. No reason other than that. But with the Pro V1, I thought these 2 felt pretty similar. They were soft, the ball came off the face well. When you hit them dead center, they had a nice little kind of like low pitch click to there. It's almost like, I wouldn't call it a knock, but it's low pitch click. Ball came off. Really, really nice, really pleasant, very familiar if you're someone who plays a lot of like steel face putters. The fit face here, I guess, does soften it up. Definitely doesn't make it too soft, doesn't make it too mushy. It's not going to be something where you hit it and you don't even feel like you hit it. I know some of the insert putters, like at Odyssey AI1 Dual, the new one for the tri-hots, and that one, like, I almost feel like if you hit it dead center, like, you almost don't know you hit it. And these here definitely give you that feedback that, yes, you hit it. And for some players, that's massive in terms of distance control, of being able to feel and hear that ball come off the face. And they kind of equate, that feel and that sound with how hard they hit the ball, and they can kind of adjust throughout the round and things like that. So I really do think it's a good thing. And again, everyone's different on what they consider good and good feel, and what they like, which is great. But these here, really good, really classic. The fit face doesn't soften it up too much. You definitely can feel that ball come off the face. Now the Pro V1, I was like, okay, they both feel pretty similar. With the Pro V1X Left Dash, you can definitely tell there's a slight difference between the 2 heads. To me, SB5 feels a touch firmer than SB3. So my theory, because I'm no engineer, I'm no club designer, is that maybe the fangs on here, on the back of this SB3, maybe they kind of have some type of vibration resonance that soften it up just a touch, or maybe it's the way the head connects into the front of the face. But when you're hitting a really firm golf ball like a Pro V1X Left Dash, I feel like SB5 is just a hair firmer and gives you just a touch more sound off the face than SB3 does. So they're both very, very close, and I think if you play a soft ball like a Chrome Soft or something like that, you're probably not going to notice a difference. But if you're playing a really firm ball like that and you're hitting them side by side, you may be able to tell. And again, if you're in a wide open, kind of loud pro shop or golf store, again, you might not be able to tell the difference. I feel like if you're I'm in my basement, it's kind of small, it doesn't have a tall ceiling, like, things are a little louder down here than they even are out on the course. And I think you can notice a difference. I just kept going back and forth, and literally I grabbed a couple more left dashes, and I would just hit one after another and just switch between putters, back and forth, back and forth. And to me, the SB3 feels just a little bit softer than SB5. So nothing crazy, nothing wild, but it did, just slightly different. And it's one of those things too, like when you hear it and then you like get into it and then you're like hyper focused on it. I started doing it more, but even came down again today before I started recording, hit a few putts. I still think SB5 is just a hair firmer. And again, it could just be like the back design, something like that makes it feel and sound that way. But it is, to me, just a slight bit different. So nothing that would sway me like out of one putter and into the other or something like that. Like, it's not that big of a difference. It's just, again, being able to put them side by side like that, they definitely sound and feel just a hair different. So feel is good. Center impacts are really good. I feel like heel impacts don't fluctuate as much with both models. SB3, SB5. I feel like when you hit it down in the heel, you still get a little bit more of a similar feel to a dead center strike. It's a little bit more solid. You don't get that little bit of vibration kicked up in the hands that you get. Now, you do feel it on the toe. On both putters, you get it out a little bit on the toe, and you will feel it, and you'll hear a little bit of sound difference. But on the heel, I feel like that is muted a little bit. It almost feels like the sweet spot moves a little bit further into the heel, from center into heel, just a touch. And on both putters, I kind of felt that way. So getting on the toe, you're going to know right away. I hit it off the toe, you're going to feel it, hear it. Off the heel a little bit, you might be just slightly, slightly confused or not confused, slightly tricked by that. But it feels pretty solid in the heel. Now, if you get a little further out, you'll definitely get into the, more audible click, more audible sound, a little firmer feel. You get that vibration, but just a hair inside heel, you will not feel that. And it might be just something with the design of the hosel in there. I mean, there is, it's on an angle, so maybe that upper mass that floats kind of more towards the heel, maybe that gives it that little bit of extra there. But really good feel, very responsive, just like you think stainless would. And if you're playing a softer ball, definitely really pleasant. Definitely zero click to it. It'll be more of like that little bit of a knock as it leaves. And if you play a really firm ball, then you'll get that touch of click to it. So depending on what you play, that could vary the feel on that and the sound on that a little bit. So sound and feel really, really solid. I think these things, like you'd expect from Bettinardi. I mean, a fine milled putter, it's going to sound and feel really, really good. So big fan of that. I think they did a nice job. And then when it comes to performance, I think both these are really, really good. Now, I did, to me, think that these were slightly unique in terms of the way they putted for me. Everybody's a little bit different. Now, this whole zero torque, toe up style, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people I think a lot of the industry kind of touts it as this like the end all be all. Like, this is the way putting's going to be, and this is for everyone, and it just flat works and whatever. And from a physics and engineering standpoint, I get it. Getting the face back to square at impact could definitely help people with what they're doing. It could make them more consistent. But it is not for everybody. I know a lot of people who have tried zero torque putters. They've tried different ones, and none of them are something that they love or something that works for them. And that's fine, man. Like, there's going to be both style putters for forever. Not one putter is going to take over and just be the best, because there's people who this just doesn't work for, and that's cool. But these two, to me, slightly different in terms of how they performed. With the sound and feel thing aside, I found for me, I lined up the SB3, the Fang one. I lined it up better to my target, and I started it on a slightly more consistent center start line. And when I did miss that line, I tended to miss it right. And then with SB5, I would hit the ball pretty center, but I would be more consistently left, and I wouldn't hit center as much. Like, if I was to chart it out and say, out of 100 putts, how many did you hit online, with SB3 or whatever, I think the percentage would be slightly higher that I started more percentage of putts online with the SB3 as opposed to SB5. Now, that could be an alignment thing, because, like I said, I did feel immediately comfortable lining the SB3 up. I think those long white sight lines and even the cavity in the middle, it just frames the ball really well. And I felt like it was really comfortable, easy to get lined up to my target and then just swing. And it was really good. SB5, I felt like I had to kind of ensure I was lined up at my target a little longer. And it might just be, different contrast. You're going light with dark lines as opposed to dark with light lines. They're a little bit opposite. And then this is, shorter as well. Shorter with a little more roundness. This is a lot more straight angles. And I think over the years I've found that more straight angles tend to work better with my eye. But I think both these are different in that sense, where there's going to be some people who set down SB5 and go, this is the one, this is it. And they have no problem, lining stuff up, whatever. And then there'd be other people who may lay down 3 and say, no, this is the one. So I think there's a little difference there. But yeah, SB3, I found that I was on starting line a good majority of the time. I'm not an amazing putter. I'm no Ben Crenshaw or whatever like that. So most of the time I was getting this thing started online. And my mat is kind of that, it's a putt-out mat that has some lines on it and stuff like that. So I kind of watch where the ball goes as it goes down that mat. And if I'm on SB3, I would get that thing started online. And then when I did miss, I would tend to miss it a little bit right. And that would be kind of the shot. And that was it. And I didn't really ever hit it left unless it was a total kind of a club path thing or something like that. But everything was a little bit straight to maybe even just slight right. And the percentage on straight was much higher. And then with SB5, I felt like majority of my misses were left. But I tended to start balls more left with that compared to straight when I compared them to the shots with SB3. So I don't know exactly what that is. It could just be design. Maybe it's the shape. Now, to me, I feel like SB3 has a little bit more of that like stable feel. Not as much as SB1. SB1 I thought was very stable. Like it had that feeling of the face wanting to go through impact. Like it pulled the putter into the ball and it wanted to stay on line. It didn't want to be manipulated. I feel like SB3 is pretty close to that, but not quite. And SB5, I think, is a little bit more neutral when it comes to that. I feel like it's got a little less of that feel of it pulling through. It lets you manipulate it a little bit if you want to. And again, like I've said this before, I think, and it's great for both of those, because I think players with a lot of arc in their stroke may put down SB5 and say, this thing feels really comfortable because I can kind of bring it, through my normal arc in my stroke, and it matches up well. Where more straight back, straight through players may pick up an SB3 and say, yeah, this works because I'm trying to bring it straight back and straight through, and it kind of works with that. So I think both these putters are really good at what they do. They just might be for slightly different golfers, and I think that's the reason why there's two of them. But yeah, the both putters just kind of reacted differently there, and I think depending on the type of golfer you are and what, I think one of these may lend more towards your style, your stroke, all that, more than the other. Now, stability on both putters is really good. When you did hit it off the toe, the heel, they want to stay pretty darn stable. Like, some putters, some of these zero torque, if you kind of even just like tap the toe, like they want to fling open. And these, I mean, unless you're hitting it way out here on the toe, if you're hitting it pretty close to center and on there, it stays pretty stable. Toe misses, I tended to see them go maybe just a little bit more right. If you hit on the heel, it would stay on line pretty darn well. And then I know the fit face is not designed to put a bunch of forward roll in the ball, but that roll is pretty smooth and consistent. Even if you do catch it a little off the heel, a little off the toe, you're not getting anything that hops or skids any extra. It still gets rolling. That forward roll happens pretty quickly. But SB3 definitely really stable. I thought SB5 was really stable. I thought the same thing. When you hit it on the heel, it would kind of want to stay there. On the toe, if you got it further out, the toe would want to maybe miss a little bit right. But again, overall pretty stable for the style, the size, all that. I think they did a nice job adding some stability in there, so you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to hit it dead center. You can take it a little off the toe, a little off the heel, and you're still going to get a good ball out of it. And the distance control for those, when you did miss it, was really, really solid. It definitely got to the hole. On my putting mat, you have that little, that little fake cup, because it's not regressed, just a mat, just printed on there. And you pretty much always got that ball to the hole, even on those misses. So nothing really came up short or felt like it was coming up way short. Everything got pretty much to the hole. I would just say, yeah, the toe miss there might kind of just leak a little bit more right than maybe, say, like a standard Innove or something like that from Bettinardi. That's like a really high MOI mallet. Those might stay on a touch better than these. But I think overall, with that face forward design, that zero torque design, the consistency's there anyway. But the misses were actually really solid, better than I kind of expected. I always feel like with these zero torque putters, I think because I remember when I saw the original DF1 or DF2, DF 2.1, whatever it was, the original one back in the day. There was a lot of things about the ball hitting the face and the face wanting to kind of rotate really badly, and I think that's always been kind of like burned into my brain. But these actually held up really, really well in terms of stability there. They really were pretty darn forgiving, and I like the feel. So yeah, between these two, I mean, I've liked SB3 a little bit more, just because I feel like I do line it up a bit better. But SB5 is really good. Now in terms of roll, like I said, roll is solid. Coming off the face, again, fit face isn't necessarily design, it's more of a feel thing. But these horizontal grooves on every face tend to put pretty good roll in the ball. Good center strikes just kind of come off the face and just have a good forward, good topspin on them. They come out quick, very minimal kind of skidding or anything like that. They kind of take their little one hop and they get rolling pretty fast. So maybe not as fast and as hot as, say, like a TaylorMade Pure Roll. They don't come off like that, but they do come off with some good spin, good forward spin to them. They're definitely not skidding or kind of like, coming back or anything like that. So a really good roll on them there. But overall stable, overall really good performance out of them. I think both these putters are really solid. I like the fact that they're pretty classic design. I mean, 5 for sure. And again, I still love 5 when I look at it. It just looks really, really good. But SB3, I putt a little bit better with out there. So I think SB3 right now leads 5 in the clubhouse at the moment. But in terms of looks, 5 is definitely the kind of winner at that point. But overall, I think both these putters are really solid. I think they're good additions to the line that's already there, the SB line, the Antidote line. Because I think you have the blade, the pure blade looking one, looks really good, feels really good. Probably the most traditional out of all of them. And then you have SB2, the super high MOI kind of big square mallet that people will say is ugly or whatever, but it is what it is. It's a really stable one. And then you go to 3, which I think is definitely better looking, not quite as heavy stable as 2, but it's pretty close with a little better look. And then you have 5, again, for that more traditional player who wants something a little bit more than 1 in terms of the blade, but they don't want to go, but they want something a little bit more, and then it's there. So it's, I think it's a good blend. I think there's 4 models here that will fit different golfers, and I think there's some golfers that there's some overlap, that 2 of these would work well, and you can kind of, go in between them. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with both putters. So, yeah, I like both of them. If you go to Bettinardi.com, you can go in there and jump in, and they've got all the Antidote putters. The one downside of these is that there is no loft and lie changes on them. So, you can pick like your length, and then you go to the loft is 3 degrees, lie is 70, and that's just what they are. There's no bending them or anything like that. And it's probably because of the way they kind of mill this hosel in there. You probably would have to just mill another hosel or a different angle on it. And I don't know if that's something that's just not easy to do, or probably cost effective, or in terms of fast to do, anything like that. So that is the one downside. You can definitely custom order stuff, with them in terms of length and grip. But yeah, getting different lofts and lies is not something that is available at the moment. And looking at it, I don't know if you would, could do it in a bending machine. I mean, I guess you could kind of bend the shaft a little bit and do it, but Bettinardi is not doing it straight from the factory. So 2 really cool putters. Again, if you said, hey, you got to pick one, you got to go play right now, which one are you going to grab? I'll probably grab an SB3. I was just a little bit more consistent, and I felt like I got a few more balls on that center start line, but I like both of them a whole lot. So both really good. It'll be exciting to see what they do with the Antidote line. If they add to it more, will we see an SB4 in the future? I hope we will. But these things were really, really solid. So big fan of the Antidote putters. Glad I got to roll them a little bit. They're definitely going to get more time as it's cold here. I'm not getting out as much. So I definitely got to find time to get out there and play a little bit more. And these will make some rounds with me to a couple trips and things like that I have on the books already. So we'll bring these down and play them. But yeah, really exciting for Bettinardi to add this on. So you can check out the launch article on golf2brx.com. Right on the front page, there's an article kind of showing off a lot of the tech, whatever. Go to Bettinardi.com, check that out, and then that is it. So thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you to everyone who did my Q&A today on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, @ClubJunkiePod. Every Wednesday, I try to do a little Q&A thing where I answer you guys' questions on equipment and all that jazz. So thank you all for asking questions, and sometimes even go live. I might even go live tonight. I'm recording this Wednesday night. I might go live after this for a little bit and see what's going on. And then, if you follow me on social, all that. And then if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, whatever, please like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. It really does help, and, makes me want to do more of this. So anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And that's all I've got today. So have a good weekend, and we'll chat next week. I think my show will come out like on Thanksgiving, if I'm looking at this correctly in terms of the old schedule there. I think this will come out on Thanksgiving Day. So I don't know if anybody will watch it or listen to it, but at least not Thursday. Maybe listen to it Friday, whatever. But yes, it'll come out next week on Thursday. So maybe you can listen while you're traveling to friends, family's house, whatever you're doing. But anyway, have a good weekend. Enjoy it. And we'll talk next week.